Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu-alaikum. Ji ayanu, pakhair agale, ni hao, chunushumme, washmale, ohio gozaimasu, guten Morgen. Hola, boyo, privyet, kaifa hal? Hale shuma chatore, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba. Buna, mucho gracias, swabia, balli kare aya. Hosh galden and I sayo, khuyamora, chi bato, chi hajut, kalimera, khairutan, and a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and are watching World this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan. And with me, I'm very lucky that I've been joined by my very well-learned colleague who happens to be Miss Hajar Satti. I hope and pray, or in fact, we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your day with us. It's a sunny Wednesday morning over in Islamabad, which kind of gives me a feeling that I think that we might probably have kind of entered into the hot summer of Pakistan. What do you think, Hajra?
Walaikum assalam. Thank you so much for introducing me, Shahzad. So I think weather is kind of very tricky because 2 days and it's sunny, you just feel that you have transitioned into the summers, and then the next 2 days, I think it's the best weather to capture the scenic photography or capture the lenses or the scenes of the Islamabad, because you can see, especially when it's the Asr time, the beautiful pastel colors of the sky, how the sun is, actually going, and how it is actually illuminating the sky as of the Islamabad, because you can see the clouds, you can see the beautiful pastel colors spreading their lights, spreading their different shades, and making us wonder that how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this such a beautiful universe. But then again, Met Office is predicting that another system of the rain has entered into the country, and from 24 till 26 we are going to receive the rainfall here in Islamabad. And I think April has so far been very pleasant, alhamdulillah. Somewhat really cold at night and very pleasant in the morning and especially in the afternoon. But alhamdulillah, there are lots of blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be thankful and to be grateful for.
Alhamdulillah. And in addition to that, so I think for all of those people who've been following us, on World this morning, they do know that, that I've shifted my place from one place to another. Yes. So now where I live, I would want to kind of put it ideally, and that is that, imagine that you're living an urban life, but that too with the surroundings of a village, and I think that's the best life.
Concept, right?
Exactly, but that's the best life that you can have. So imagine that I was sitting down with my daughters just yesterday. It was somewhere around 4 or 5 p.m. in the day. It was sunny, it was bright, and all of a sudden, it started to rain. And I cannot tell you how thankful I was to Allah Almighty for me to kind of witness such a weather, and then my daughters were really ecstatic and happy and whatnot. I wanted to sleep because I'm an early riser. I wanted to sleep at that time, and I did sleep, and I was like, wow, I think I cannot give it up. Not just that, in addition to that, imagine you drive 10 kilometers up to Shah Ladita as well, and imagine that the scenes that you're going to get, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, for people who are traveling to Shah Ladita these days as well, they really need to be careful, make sure that you travel during the daytime as well, because there have been incidences of robberies as well. They're making sure that there's going to be police patrolling till 4 p.m. as well. So please, whenever you're going, make sure that there are 2-3 more people alongside you as well. And that's it. So if you are in for a treat in Islamabad, make sure that you kind of visit D12. They're at the footsteps of the Magla Hills, then move on towards Shah Ladita. There are restaurants. There's swimming pools up there as well, so you can enjoy yourself. But with that, what are we talking about today, Hajra?
Right. So we're going to talk about a very interesting topic, because Shahzad has already sketched a very beautiful picture of Islamabad and the nature and the greenery. But I think beauty does not just come from the nature. It also manifests in the people who are doing for the altruistic work. True. And who are making sure that they are giving back to humanity. Because there was one quote which I read and I still stuck in my mind, that the serving humanity is actually the debt that we pay on living on this planet Earth. Because if you see the nature, you will find that the things of the nature or the creation of the nature does not work or benefit for themselves, but rather they're also working for others. So for example, trees do not give shade or fruit so that they can benefit from themselves. Other flora and fauna, the animals and the humans are benefiting from them. So if you analyze the river, lakes or the beds or all of these water bodies, they are not producing the water for themselves to benefit from that, but they are doing that from so that the animals can benefit from them, from the humanity can benefit from them, and the insects or whatever the animals are there, they can benefit from them, right? So without any further ado and without further monopolizing the conversation, we are very glad that we have been joined by someone who is doing a series of initiatives to make sure that they are benefiting the humanity out there. So we are very glad that we are joined by the CEO and the founding patron of the Rahe No constellation. He happens to be Raheel Nazir Chaudhary. Assalamu alaikum and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you.
So it's wonderful to have you over here. You happen to be a social entrepreneur, and we'll certainly be asking about it. But this is for the very first time that we've come across an initiative where, the end term is kind of saying constellation. So a lot of things coming together. What are they coming together for? What's the motive behind it as well? We certainly need to be in conversation with the founder as well. So we'll come down to you, sir. But first, ladies and gentlemen, it's very important that we kind of introduce. This is for the very first time that I'm coming across this term. We might have heard about entrepreneur, but we've never heard about impactpreneur as well. So now I think, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've been joined by her over here. She happens to be the founder of Raheno Constellations herself. She is Ms. Rida Raheel. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning. How are you feeling today?
Walaikum assalam. I'm feeling great.
Ecstatic, the smile tells us all as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to have you. So to get started with it, first of all, before we kind of delve into the conversation where you talk about, the leopardship or the leader and leopardship, joining together as well. What is Raheno? Why do you think Raheno was founded? And what's the sole purpose of it?
Thank you for that question, and it's a pleasure to be here with your entire team. Raheno Constellations. Let me talk about the name first of all.
Sure.
Raheno means new directions, and constellations, like you referred to earlier, means that it is a group of youth empowerment initiatives.
Yep.
And we focus on the youth. Why did we come up with this concept? Where do we come from? I would like to elaborate a little bit more about that. We both belong to the humanitarian sector. We've worked in international INGOs, and Raheel used to work in Save the Children and then Care International in Africa as a regional director, and then he worked as a country director of Somalia and Sudan.
Yep.
Me, on the other hand, I used to work in American Refugee Committee, and during our tenure of his 30 years and mine about 3 to 4 years, I realized that I want to shift a little bit towards doing something that has a long-term, sustainable way of programming and has
Doing things.
Yeah, of doing things, exactly. So the program goes on and has a long-term impact on the set target community, and that is the youth. And the youth takes up about 67% of the population, and they can do so much for Pakistan. It's such a big opportunity having such a big youth bulge, and we wanted to really target them to uplift Pakistan.
Right.
Wow.
And now let's move forward to Raheel. So we've seen that you particularly focused on the youth, and obviously there is a dimension of a demographic gift in it because they're the change makers and they're the ones who are going to be working for the country for the coming years, right? And Pakistan is very blessed in this regard. But when we talk about Raheno Constellation and their series of initiatives, so you're talking about social impact, you're also tackling the climate change, and then you are also working on a lot of other initiatives. So with the diversity of so many programs, do you sometimes feel that, it's just, or you might be not that much focus on one particular thing?
Is it too much?
Yes.
On your plate?
I like your observation, but I think our approach is very clear.
Okay.
When you're talking about youth and the 67% of the population, we wanted to engage them in every bit possible.
Okay.
Because youth are the one who are the torchbearer, and we don't want to leave any stone unturned, and we can't force youth to go into one direction or the other direction. All we want to do is to highlight the issues where they can be engaged and where they can take charge.
And how do you do that particularly?
Okay, our approach in Raheno is that we would like to, what we have seen when we have come back from Africa after 15 odd years, that the positive side which really encouraged us to go towards youth is there was a huge the startup were at the boom.
Yep.
And that startup culture really encouraged us to do, but at the same time we saw that the startups were not sustaining, and many of them were also like
90% of them was a failure.
Was a failure. So we dig down. We wanted to do the research, what was happening. Their hand-holding support was not enough.
Thank you so much, sir, for saying that, because there's a reason, why I'm interjecting as well. Now, imagine that, when Haja, I started working, for cars and importing them and whatnot, so I was establishing my business.
Right.
It took me a longer time to kind of establish it, and the reason was that, I was scared of the failure myself. Now, imagine one day, I called my chachu, we call him uncle, in English language as well, and I was like, I don't know what to do and what not to do. So he said, You know, so whatever you want to do, go ahead, do it. God forbid if there's a loss, I'll bear it for you. And I was like, why would you say that to me? And he said, because your father said that to me when I was about to start my own business. And this is something which actually kind of gave me that push. But there's always a reason. Now, you know, coming back to you, Mr. Siddharth, the reason which I would want to ask is, first of all, let's kind of observe the mentality that you bear because of the fact that you want to bring about social change for the youngsters over here in the country. Now, imagine if I'm of the mindset that, you know, that we have been bragging about brain drain too much because people study, they go abroad. I think that human resource is that one resource that we need to build on. These individuals, you know, once they get ready, they need to leave the country, go work there, send us some dollars, remittances, and that's how we're going to work. Do you think that you share the same mindset as well, or do you believe, or people at Rahino believe, that we are preparing them for a brighter future over here in Pakistan? Which way are you going?
I love this question,
Thank
so
you.
I'm going to thank you for this question. I had the pleasure of studying in Africa, including my university years. So I came back and I had a huge struggle because my husband has the PR card of Canada, and we had so much pressure to go to Canada. So now coming to the question of brain drain, we chose to stay back.
Yeah.
And we chose this option because we believe that after all of the education and the way that we've been empowered, we can come back to our country and really give back.
True.
And in this same notion, we also believe that brain drain, yes, it is an issue, but it is also a really big opportunity.
Because there's no other resource we're capitalizing on, so why not capitalize on human resource?
In a very
How are
different
you
way.
manifesting it
Yeah.
particularly? Because obviously you're talking about the social impact, you're talking about climate change, and you talked about the entrepreneurship. So do you offer the advices? How does this entire thing work?
Yes, I'd be happy to share. So what we would like the youth to do, yes, get the exposure, leverage from the knowledge base that they learned from abroad, and come back and give back. And how do they do that? They go into the sectors of social sectors. So social entrepreneurship would be where we focus on for economic empowerment. We want them to be economically secure through entrepreneurship within the social sectors of health, education,
Yep.
and the environment. So when they take up the roles of these three social sectors, they are basically strengthening the social services and supporting the government in empowering and providing these services to across the board throughout Pakistan.
Okay. I think, you know, in addition to this, when we kind of, you know, refer to social services, most of the times people take it as if it's pro bono, right? You know, so how do you think that we might be able to empower people through social services, but for them to contribute towards Pakistan can't really be a social cause?
Okay, so we have the concept even within our religion that says that Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that there is a lot of abundance in trade.
Yeah.
So in that concept, when we look at health, how do you make money while doing health services? I would like to refer to Raheel for this, as this is one of his strengths as to how to explain where health can be very beneficial and money-making,
Yeah.
and still support the society.
Yeah, I think the reason why why we prioritize to focus on social entrepreneurship is that because there is a misunderstanding among our youth that the term social is referred to as falahi idare,
Humanity
as
services,
NGOs,
philanthropy, yes.
humanitarian philanthropy. No, it's not. I mean, if you look at the world, especially after COVID, you know, the report of Davos in January 22, you know, shows that there was $44 billion investment available on health tech only, which is not the entire health. And very few of that was utilized by Indian female technology innovators.
But was that investment or was that a charitable source?
It's mix of both.
Yeah,
you-
that's now for
Yeah.
as a Muslim, you know, if I'm doing something,
Yeah.
I don't know whether I'm eligible for it or not. मैं किसी के सदके से तो अब अपना कारोबार नहीं आगाज कर सकता
No,
ना।
it's-
So you really there's a sense of eligibility for that too.
No, the money is coming from the West.
Even if you know, लेकिन मैंने अपना तो दीन ईमान देखना है ना कि मैं सदके के पैसे से कारोबार शुरू कर रहा हूँ. I know obviously because if they have that budget,
Yeah.
we certainly need brains which are as smart as to
Absolutely.
come up with plans how to
Yeah.
utilize
Yeah.
that money, right?
So it's not only health. I mean, we look at education tech, we look at, you know, climate resilient infrastructure investment in Pakistan, because we can't afford to see that every flood washes away our hospitals, our schools and other. That's where we want to bring our youth to take charge of social
And
entrepreneurship.
you also engage in one of the initiative called WASH, which is focusing on the hygienic health,
Within the health,
particularly,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
within the underdeserved community or underprivileged communities, right? So how does that initiative is manifesting? Because obviously in Pakistan, we see that hygienic health is something that needs to be focused on a lot, especially when we are talking about the
I had the
underprivileged community.
privilege in 2019 to work with the Punjab Governor Office to establish, the clean drinking water program.
Mashallah.
And one of the, component I added in it that there will be no free water, because anything which is free will not be valued.
Yeah.
And the only time community can get free water is they can walk to the point of clean drinking water. Otherwise, if they want to receive it at home, it will be charged.
True.
So what we introduced is that the youth will run, water bottles, supplies to the households. So
Okay.
their income will be generated. And then we also introduced the concept of water ATMs. Usually the ATMs can only bring money, but they can also bring water. And that was whole designed by the universities in Lahore,
And how
And
successful-
at times ATMs can bring you people who will take your money too. It's always lock the door
And
from
how
inside.
successful was that initiative? Because I think one of the one of the criticism that can be leveled is that because if you are making it for the money, so that is also making it inaccessible to the underprivileged community, because they're already underprivileged. They're only. I'm
you're very
really
right.
sorry, I have to interject here, but we have to go on a short break. After that, we will continue the conversation. Don't go anywhere.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned and obviously continuing the conversation where we left it as well. So I'll be, in conversation with Mr. Rahil over here. So Rahil bhai, before we actually headed out towards a short break, you were trying to explain to us the entire concept of the, social impact that it's going to have and the initiatives that Rahino Constellation's taken. Please go ahead, continue.
Yeah, I think in terms of the reason why we are focusing on social entrepreneurship is that it has a double impact. One is that, it's the only business where you can get a venture capital so easily. If you want to open a boutique, nobody will invest in that.
Yeah.
If you want to open, health services for rural areas, I think your host government, your, private sector will invest in that. So that's one advantage. Second is that it is a profitable, venture. And while you get the profit, you're actually doing a social impact, on the communities.
And obviously now let's move forward the conversation, because how do you measure the impact of this entire initiative? Because obviously feasibility is an important factor when you talk
absolutely.
about the social entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I think one factor is the baseline. If you look at now, the good thing is that, there is an interest already developing in Pakistani youth to go towards social entrepreneurship. Thanks to the universities or HEC, encouraging all universities to open incubation centers in each of the university.
Yep.
That has opened door for youth, to look at the spectrum in a much wider way. So along with some commercial ventures, people like us through Rahino, platform and through other platform are introducing social entrepreneurship.
Exactly, and
also.
thank you so much for doing that as well, because I would love to move back to you, madam, over here as well, and that is the so there's Rahino campsite, there's Rahino comrades, there's Rahino councils, Rahino coinage, there's so many things, climate action, whatnot. For you to kind of make sure that you are going to give 100% to each and every bit of it, there's so many of them. How do you do that? How do you manage that as well?
Very good question. So how do we manage that? We go step by step, just like every other venture, irrespective of whether it's social or a purely commercial venture.
All right.
You go with it by launching one aspect of it. So we've already launched, alhamdulillah, the first initiative of Rahino Caravan. And we were lucky enough to have Volunteer Force Pakistan, who is a very established volunteer network all across Pakistan. And they have a venture called Leopardship.
Yeah.
And we came on board as with our own flavor of social entrepreneurship, and we added to Leopardship, which is their initiative. And Leopardship 2024 was co-organized by both of our organizations, and it took place last weekend, 20th
On the
and
20th and the 21st as well, and we would love to kind of speak about it. There were 700 or more youngsters of Pakistani, coming together as well. What benefits do you think they would have garnered after this conference that has taken place?
Okay, so there were participants from all over Pakistan, all 4 provinces, including GB and AJK, and we had industry leaders who have been working in the industry at CEO level, and they came and they took out time on a voluntary basis to really empower the youth with life skills and business skills, and with the elements of hiking and the revival of traditional games, and a celebration of diversity and culture at the end. We inculcated also another aspect of value, because value system is something that we really want to inculcate in the youth.
True.
So that they can take these values forward and really prosper, and also take them into the future. So these values are: express honesty, emit positivity, emanate hope, exhibit tolerance, embrace happiness, and express gratitude.
Wow. Right, and I think these are the
this
values.
All we require.
Yes, they are desperately required, especially in our today's time. So now let's move forward. Rahil, you've talked about it, particularly the innovation solution, right, and where you're integrating the technology and making sure that it is having a positive impact, right? So can you share some success stories, and can you share some practical examples of how you have practically manifested that?
Well, in terms of the success story from the platform of Rahil No is yet to come. One was the leopardship, because we have just launched this initiative. But in terms of my background, I can talk about my last assignment in Somalia, where we had about 2,000 youth network, engaged in several of the ventures, including the social ventures and some governance and political aspect. I was very glad to see that after 3 years of engaging them, 80% of them were in the parliament. And you can imagine, if 80% of the young youth, and it's in Somaliland, it's in one of the seven states.
Wow.
So if they are coming into the parliament, you can imagine that, they will be, dedicating resources for education, for health, for WASH, which you asked about earlier. And that's where I got the inspiration that, if they can do it, a war-torn area for the last 40 years, and the only 2 seasons Somalia has, one is drought, the second is flood.
True.
We have a season of winter and,
and because of climate
summers,
change now, unfortunately, floods too as well.
Yes.
But I think that, being positive over here, I think it's a wonderful initiative that you've taken. Sorry, you wanted to say something.
So I'm just saying that, seeing through, all those, programs and successes, I've strong hope, because the enabling environment which the government of Pakistan has already created through its education ministry, through Higher Education Commission and our universities, I think it's the right time. With the 67% behind us, we can take the
and
flag
where do you
forward.
think, so to kind of wrap up this conversation, obviously, first of all, I would like to kind of say over here that whenever there's any initiative that Rahil No is going to take, you're more than welcome. Please be our guest as well.
Thank you so much.
Where do you think that the universities can make it right as well? For you to jump into this sector means that there's a lag, there needs to be some bridging, which you've done, with the making sure that you're going to host a conference where CEOs and people are going to come so that they speak about it, whether what is required. How do you think that our education sector can do better?
Absolutely. I'm so glad you asked this question, because I think we, both Rida and myself, we visited, more than a dozen incubation centers. I mean, they are amazing, beautiful rooms, everything is there. I think the few things which are missing is inculcating, the private sector, opening the door for industry leaders. And that's what we demonstrated along with Voluntary Force Pakistan last weekend in our compound, where we had, 100-odd CEOs plus, the head of the incubation center. So they were all mingled together. I think it's the partnership between the private sector and the universities, because, our students, they need to see the first-hand knowledge of, what are the stairs of successes and failures, and how to reach to that level where others have done.
And it's always going to come down to, ladies and gentlemen, meeting the right person. I mean, if you're going to meet the right person in your life, even as a life partner, you do know for sure how there's going to be so much of positive impact in your life. So imagine that within your career, whatever your thought processes are, if you meet that right person, if you get to be mentored by somebody who's done it themselves, I think that's the right way to go as well. So, Ms. Rida, towards the end of this, anything you would want to say to our audiences, please go ahead. That's your camera.
Thank you so much. I would like to say that when we have opportunities, it is up to the youth to really take advantage of such opportunities. We have great opportunities available to us in our universities. We have different organizations working towards empowerment, youth empowerment, but it is up to the youth to take the most out of these opportunities and follow through and grow yourself. Don't give up on your ideas and continue doing it until you get to your dreams and aspirations.
Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us,
Thank you so
Rahin
much.
of
Thank you.
Constellation. It was wonderful
so
to be in
much. Thank you so much.
conversation, to talk about, you know, what actually the future holds for the youngsters of the country. Ladies and gentlemen, we're rich in human resource. I think we really need to capitalize on it. We're actually heading out towards a short break. Now, once we're going to come back from the break, there's one more aspect of it, and that is now, so we have spoken about how do we really need to kind of bridge the gap in between academia and the rich human resource that Pakistan has in terms of the youngster or the youth of the country. Now imagine that if you're going to go into these segments where unfortunately people cannot even afford to go to schools, how can we make them better? Well, that's a thought-provoking thought. And ladies and gentlemen, for that, we will actually be going for a short break. Once we come back, we have an expert talking about that too as well. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Get a cup of coffee and good morning. Yeah, we'll be right back.
Welcome back, and before going on to the break, Shehzad alluded to the kind of the conversation that we are going to have, and I've also alluded to in the start of the program that there are people who want to serve humanity out there. There are a lot of altruistic initiatives that are being taken, and I think one of the pertinent problem that is particularly prevalent in the third world countries, and when we talk about the South Asian countries, is the problem of begging, because begging does not just entails that people who are going out, especially who are on the streets, who are on the traffic signals, and they're asking for the money. There's an entire money and economy that is associated with it, and there's entire mafia behind those, all of the people who are earning money, and that too from asking money from the other people. So how to tackle them and make sure that we are not just leaving them out on the streets, but also empowering them with a particular skill so that they can have that initiative, they can be empowered, and they can earn the money out there. But I think that requires a lot of initiative in terms of the mindset change, because changing the mindset of someone who is so attuned to begging the money rather than empowering them, that requires a phenomenal change, and there are people who are working on changing this mindset and inducing the behavioral change in the society. So without any further ado, we are very glad that we have been once again joined by Ms. Shahida Naveed. She happens to be a social activist, and she is also the president of the Pehchan Foundation. Assalamu alaikum, Ms. Shahida, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Assalam. Thank you so much too, because you have invited me the second time.
Exactly.
It's
You
a
know, you
pleasure
truly
for me.
deserve to be invited as well, because of the fact that, you know, that the initiatives that Meri Pehchan Welfare Foundation has taken. Now, I think I was really excited when I got to know that we will be talking about that, you know, that you've taken initiatives where you certainly want to make sure that there are no beggars out there on the street.
Right.
We know as a nation that it's a difficult task. There's mafias out there, there are people, they take it as a business. How did you come across this idea, and how is it going so far?
Thank you so much. It's a very, I think, important topic to be discussed here. And you talked about that there are beggars which are not only on our streets, but there are mafia that is working behind on it. And few people are here that are at home, and they are just seeking for the others to help them.
True.
They are not on the roads, but they are helpless and they are dependent upon the others.
And they do not even ask from anybody.
Yeah, and the main idea behind this my working was that I noticed that the few widows, divorced ladies are here, that they are not using their skills, and they just seek for the help towards their parents or their parents-in-laws. So I decided to make them skilled, to explore their skills and to give them trainings so that they should be empowered and they should earn their own, not seeking for others, not depending upon others. And that was the reason that I worked, then I thought that the people on the signals, the same, they are having same ideas, that they are seeking for others, that they should help them. I will give you one example, that whenever I went out from my office, just outside my office, there is a lady who is sitting on the road, just on footpath, and she is very educated. I think she is very well mannered and very looks like a good family. And the boy that she told me that he is his son,
Okay.
her son. So the boy is holding a card that we need rent for the house. I stopped my car many times. I asked her,
They're still
don't do
there.
this, don't do this. From the many months, I am noticing that she is sitting there
Asking for rent.
and asking for help. I said that there is very near to my office, please come there, get training, use your skills and do your own work. You will be financially stable in within 2 or 3 months. And you are sitting here for many, I think.
So was she willing to do it or not?
No.
No.
No, just
That's why this conversation is interesting. Now imagine that you must have come up with a model.
Yeah.
That model will actually help people kind of get out of this unfortunate menace that lives within our own society as well. So what model does Meri Pehchan Foundation come up with, and do you think that it's working out?
Yeah, it's working. It's one example, but she is now ready to come in my office.
Mashallah.
She was saying that now I will come. First time she said these words.
Yeah.
Otherwise she said no, 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 no.
So what's the plan?
No, I will give him a training in vocational,
Okay.
and once she will be confident in tailoring, she can do work at home.
Okay. And what sort
many
of trainings are we talking
And-
about
and,
over here?
And obviously, when we talk about the behavioral change, it's a very long-lasting sort of project to work on, because changing and unlearning the patterns that have been imbibed from generation to generation requires a lot of effort to unlearn,
Yeah.
right?
And
then-
especially, Hajra, when you're getting hundreds and thousands of rupees by not doing anything.
and that too by free, just by begging. So obviously
Yeah.
that's why we talked about it, that it requires a lot of
Yeah.
effort. But when we talk about vocational training, and obviously you're imparting skills,
Yeah.
but we do know that this is a place, an area, particularly when you talk about stitching, when you talk about boutiques, or especially invested in the women empowerment from the lens of that. So there's a lot of also, I would say, the competition in the market, because there are lots of people who out there who are also doing the same thing, and there is a huge demand out there, right? So how do you ensure that they become empowered, or sort of if you provide any platform for that, so that they can actually earn the money, and it's not just a competition in which they are sort of drained in that spiral of the competition?
I am very confident that I am providing true things to the girls who are coming from very backward areas, and the girls who are working at the homes. These are maids
Okay.
at different homes. The girls are just getting training at my office,
Okay.
and the girls from the jugis.
Okay.
These girls are very honest, very polished, very hardworking, and they did not know before coming to my office how to pick a needle. But now they are stitching their own dresses and their families' dresses. On Eid they have stitched. And
Mashallah.
we are providing also training for cooking and beautician skills, and they are also very now expert in mehendi.
I think that's great, but with this, there's one more thing which I would want. I think it's a humble request to all of those people who are running NGOs as well, or vocational training centers. Now, my request now is that the times are changing. We might not want people to stitch our clothes. We can still go buy whatever. I think that when we talk about empowerment and financial independency, I think what we really need to do is that we need to give them a skill which is the need of the hour. Why not, make sure that that we offer them laptops and courses online, which with the help of which they can earn dollars, not just dollars. Those dollars in return will help the economy of the country. So we're talking about vocational trainings where they can earn up to 50,000 or 100,000 rupees. Why not impart trainings on such platforms where they can actually live the life that we live?
Yeah, we are also providing IT courses.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have developed a library to come here and read books.
Mashallah.
Yeah, and the girls are also studying there.
And how successful is that initiative? Because I generally see that there's a decline in the book reading
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah, that's why I have taken that initiative, that I want to increase that trend to read the books.
Right. And
Yeah.
what sort of future projects are you invested in? I mean, do you want to enhance the scope of this project? Because obviously Lahore is a city that is on, it's a core sort of a territory, and there are a lot of underprivileged communities which are outside of the Lahore. So do you plan on having access to those communities? So what sort of future projects are you working on?
Yeah, inshallah, we will increase our projects in Islamabad and South Punjab. We are also arranging free medical camps and provide free medicines too. And these also, we are invited in different places like Gujranwala and Islamabad and South Punjab. They are inviting us, and they are that is a one part of my work that we are working also on a health.
Right,
And for as related for my vocational and IT courses, we are also increasing and making offices at the different places where the people are inviting us to work at these areas.
MashaAllah. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so
That's
much,
wonderful.
madam, for
Thank
being
you
with
so
us
much.
and to speak about your initiatives as well. We want to wish you best of luck. Thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
so
us.
much.
Thank you so
Wonderful to have you over here. And for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, it's always that one person who thinks about that positive change that he or she can bring about in the society, and the rest will always be history. I think that if Madam can do it, you know, if Raheel Saab, Rida can do it, I think we all can do it as well. You know, so it's just that how good of a motivation we have for that change to be over here, to be existent within the community and the society that we live in. Please make sure that you bring about that change, the positive change that we all speak about, that we all think about.
Right. And with that, we are bidding you farewell. Until next time, it's a goodbye, Allah Hafiz, and good morning.
Good morning.